In this quick video tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can get a set of 306 gear using the droids on the public test center for the Jedi Guardian Combat Styles test. All I've done up to this point is created a new character, set up my interface, and traveled the fleet. So here I am in front of the droid area, so we can run in here and we'll get this started. So the very first thing we're going to have to do is level up our character since we can't buy any of the gear. So we're going to click on this droid. And just to be complete, we are going to do it twice. That way we get all of our skills. There is a bit of a bug if you only do it once. And so we will do that twice. This also provides us with money. The first thing I'm going to do is just expand my inventory so we have plenty of space to do this. Now, something you're going to notice, and a lot of people noticed, is the gear felt underpowered on the test center. And the reason that is if I come over here and I just buy my gear, so we'll buy this chest plate, and I look at this, it is a set of gear at 270. 270 is probably lower than what you're used to playing. By contrast, if you buy your earpieces and different implants and relics over here, they're actually at 306. So this is a little bit of a implementation error. So this gear vendor is kind of acting like the crates that you get the gear out of. It takes your actual character level, so in this case, character level 1, into account when it does the gear. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to purchase these. We're going to go down and we are going to grab our relics. Now, it doesn't really matter what you get. We're only looking at numbers here. And the last thing we're going to do is get a weapon and our focus here. I'm going to go ahead and equip those items. And the first thing you'll notice is my gear level went up. Now at this point, that's not high enough to get anything above a set of 270 gear, but it will get us started. The other thing I want to make sure I do is I can reach both of these vendors so I don't have to move my character. Now for this, I'm just going to grab this first complete set of gear here. It's nice and easy. As I go forward, if I want to actually get the gear I want at 306, I'll do that last. Okay, once I'm armed with this, I'm going to equip this first set of gear. And the first thing you'll notice is my gear level has now raised up to 283. So at this point, a lot of people ran off and tested. And I think this was part of the reason they felt underpowered, is this is a weaker set of gear than what they might be used to. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to repeat this process. So I'm going to jump over here. I'm going to grab a new focus and a new saber. And the first thing you're going to notice is these are higher rated. So now I have 280s and I'm going to equip those. And now what the practice is it's mostly just swapping between these two vendors and slowly raising your gear level. And so now you're going to notice these are 283s. What I have found is in general, if you just do this back and forth up to about level 300, you're going to get a nice steady increase in gear level. I don't pay much attention to the numbers quite yet, but that will come here in a moment. So let's go ahead and do this real quick. So you'll notice that I'm always equipping the gear as I get new pieces. The key is to keep that number steadily rising, right? So 280s to 290s. And I don't even bother to check the number as I'm going through here. It's mostly just about how fast can I get this gear equipped. That's also the reason I'm kind of using this first set, because it's nice and easy to get through. The other thing that you'll notice is if you pay attention to the little arrows on the gear, if it's an up arrow, chances are you're actually getting better gear as you're working your way up the system. Okay, so we're approaching 300 now. And so this works pretty well up to about 300. So let's get to that level. We're in the 296 range. So here you'll start to see, like, this one's actually not as good. So you notice if there's no green arrow, you may not want to equip it. But we'll just keep pushing here, up and up. Let's see what we're at. So there's a 300. That one's the same. And so you're going to hit a stage here where the gear kind of quits improving. And it hits right about 300. And so we'll change our process a little bit once we get there. See, that one's the same. That one's not as good. That one's a little better. That one's a little better. And so you do want to be careful. If you equip gear with actually lower numbers, You won't actually be gaining on this gear set. So those, okay, so you notice my focus didn't go up, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab another one. And so here, once we kind of get to this level, you can start grabbing more than one to try to get that gear level to go up. Doesn't look like we're gonna get much movement there, so we'll go ahead and go out of that one. And we'll grab one more set of gear, and then I think we're gonna have to change our process here a little bit. So there's a 300. Yep, 301 looking good. That's the same. That one's less. That one's an improvement. That one's already okay. So you notice all my gear is about level 300. So this is where I'm going to change my process. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just clean out my inventory. Now, an interesting little side note is you buy all this gear for 1 credit, but it actually sells back at a higher price. So that one's 8,000. So you actually make money doing this. Although every time you click on the leveling vendor, they give you 1,000,000 credits. So money is not really a concern. Okay, so now that I've got my inventory kind of cleaned out here, we're going to change our process a little bit. So now instead of just buying 1, I'm going to buy 5. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of search through. So there's a 304, that's an improvement. Mostly looking for those little green arrows, 300, 302. So those were both improvements. And we're going to do the same thing over here. So instead of buying just 1, I'm going to buy 5 of each one. And what that allows me to do is, now that every drop isn't an actual improvement, it will actually create a situation where I can find a piece of gear that's actually better. So 302 is an improvement. Oops, sold that one back. If you do want something back, you can go there and get it. But I do have extras here. There's a 301, 299. There's another 302. That's a 303. There's a 301. You'll notice as soon as I click on one, the arrows change. So if you find a high one, you can kind of use that as a guide to see if you've actually improved. There's a 302. Okay, so now if I check my gear level, we're at 304. So we're actually getting there. At this point, we might get lucky and start to pull good weapons and focuses here. So let's grab a bunch here. So there's a 306. So that's what we're trying to get to. So we'll pull that one out. 304. Let's see if we get lucky and get a few more here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and equip that and grab a few more of these. 304, 304. And hopefully get lucky. There's a 305. We'll throw that on real quick. Now, for right now, I'm not too terribly worried about what the actual piece of gear is, because really what we're trying to do is get that number up. Once you get to 306, then you can start to customize the gear level out, or the actual gear pieces that you want, or even looking for mods and enhancements that are the best stats, depending on what you're trying to do as part of the test. So let's go ahead and clear these back out. Sell out all of this. And we'll buy 10 more of these and hope to get lucky. I've noticed the offhand can be a little bit more difficult. Okay, so let's go ahead and raise the rest of our gear level. So we'll come back to this guy and we'll do the same thing. So we got a 304 in that group. So now, because I want to keep the actual sheet here open, I'm going to just throw them manually onto the character. There's a 304, that's an improvement. And what do we got for gloves? 302, there's another 304. Oh, 305, let's grab that one. And we'll see if we can get a good chest plate here. It's a 303 and a 304, so we'll grab the 304. Do the same thing with boots. There's a 304, a 304, 306. So our boots are done. That's nice. Let's see what we get for belts. 305, 304. We'll grab the 305. And then arm guards usually do pretty good. It's usually pretty easy to get a 306 one of those. There we go. We already got our chest piece. Try for another helmet. All right, let's go through that again. Got 305. That one's an improvement. So we'll grab that. And it's mostly just a little bit of tediousness, but just inching your gear levels up, right? Like everything's kind of 305, 306 now. If you're content with that, you know, if you kind of want to say, you know what, I think that's good enough for me, you could stop at this point. But just to get all the way through it, I'm going to go ahead and continue until we get our full set of 306 here. Another 305. Chest pieces aren't being very happy, so we'll throw that one on. We already got our boots. See if we get lucky on a belt here. There's a 306 belt. Arm guards, we already got a 306. Okay, let's go ahead and clean our inventory back out. And I think maybe one more pass through this process should be able to clean up our complete gear set. So we'll sell all this stuff off. So it would be nice, hopefully in the next phase of the test center, that they make it so that it just gives you the 306 gear. I'm not sure why they set it up this way. Probably more of an oversight than anything. All right, let's go back and see if we can grab ourselves an offhand at 306. That's a 305. 305. There's a 306. Okay, so we have our main hand and offhand done. We've got our arm guards, gloves, belt, and boots. So really we need helmet, chest, and legs, looks like, to finish this up. So let's go ahead and grab those. 304. 305. 304. 305. 305. Helmet is not being very kind to us. So now you can play the superstition card and just say, you know what, I'm going to try something else. So let's see if we can get a chest piece here. Okay, so this is something that I haven't been checking. Sometimes you can get a higher number that has a lower set of stats, at least from the system standpoint. So let's go ahead and grab that. And then we'll go back here and double check our helmets real quick just to make sure that didn't happen to us. Not seeing any 306 helmets. Oh, there was one. There we go. All right, and I think the last thing we need are our leggings. Let's go ahead and grab some of those. Three or five. 305, 305, 305, 304. I think this is the last piece we need. It's going to be difficult. Come on. Give this to us. Okay, so let's clean out a little bit of inventory here and hope for a little bit of luck. There we go. There was one. 306. Okay, so now you notice that our gear rating's 306. We'll make one more pass through here, 306, 306. And so now we have a complete set of 306 gear. I want to grab a tactical I can. At this point, now that you're done, you can actually go through and say, okay, now I will do the same thing, but this time scrolling down to the actual set of gear, the set of gear bonuses that I want in order to create, you know, the gear that best fits the class that I'm going to run. So this first set may not be the stats that you want, but as you're trying to get that gear number up, it's more important just to be quick as opposed to go and find the correct gear inside, because you can actually wear all the gear. So now what I could do if I wanted to, let's say for whatever reason, the gear set I wanted was this Lord of Pain set. So now I could scroll down, find the gear set, and kind of do the same thing. Right now that I've got a 306 set, there's a 306. Hopefully it should be easier to find. There's my 306 to find the actual stats that I want. And if you really, really wanted to optimize your gear, then you could start going through and looking at the individual mods and enhancements, pulling different sets, pull those out, and reconfigure your gear in order to get the gear you want. So now that I've got this gear set, I've got my stats, I've got my skill set, I can go off and test with a full set of 306 gear as opposed to the 270 and get a more apples to apples comparison of what this Jedi Guardian feels like compared to live. I hope you found this brief tutorial helpful. Please like, share, and subscribe, and as always, go watch, play, or create something great.